We're not editing this. I'm going to get it.
This seems like a real good intro to me. Alright guys, thank you so much for coming back to our spoiler cast of Deidra and Laney, Rob a Train. Currently streaming on Netflix. If you haven't seen this movie yet, please pause this video, go watch the movie, come back, watch this. You will not regret it. Or you might.
I think there's a lot of great discussion in this film. Like, potential for great discussion. So,
possibly.
Don't be afraid to, leave what you think in the comments.
Yeah.
Or like that. I don't know, whichever way you
trolls living under them bridges anywhere in the internet.
Come on out.
Come on out. So, Deidra and Laney rob a train.
They do. They rob a couple trains.
Yeah, it's a misleading title. They rob way more than a train. Mm-hmm. What did you think?
Like I said in the last episode, I mean, it was okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it was lighthearted. It's family friendly. I don't know. For some reason, I think I had a misconception of what I thought the film was going to be.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that's my fault. But I don't know. I feel like it hit all the screenwriting beats. Like, everything was like right up. I bet you if you paused it at every moment, it would like fit perfectly well with,
Yeah, this is a good example of a film that was definitely using the Blake Snyder beat sheet. If you don't know, if you're a screenwriter, read Blake Snyder's Save the Cat. He has a beat sheet in there that you'll read that beat sheet and be like, oh my god, every movie is made like this.
Yeah.
But this one was like blaringly following the beat sheet. Ashley Murray was really good. She's very smart in the beginning,
definitely a standout. I mean,
she's the smartest girl in her family for sure. So when stuff goes bad, it's understandable that she's the one to kind of pick up everything after everything and formulate this plan to raise money and save her mom and really go to college. She doesn't really care about her mom that much.
There's a great scene in the beginning where she's working at it's not a Best Buy, but it's supposed to be
kind
a
of
Best
like
Buy.
that. Yeah, TV sale store.
Yeah, it's a U-Buy, or I can't remember what it's called, but they have the same color outfits or uniforms, and anyway, and she's like flipping out with the TV, having a mental breakdown, and I thought that whole scene was done really, really well.
Yeah.
And she ends up going to jail.
We also have Laney, the younger sister, who now has to deal with, she has this thing where she feels invisible, and I thought the way they did that, even though it was kind of biting off of one of the movies I hate the most in the world, Garden State. That's the shot where she falls and she's blending in with the floor. Like, it's a good metaphor for who she is and how she feels.
It's a beautiful shot.
This text starts going around the school after she's fallen, and when they show the screenshot is the same shot that the camera got, which was completely overhead. I want to know what student was taped to the ceiling. Which kid got
on a ladder or something.
Yeah, and just took this picture. Like, little things like that are like, come on, you couldn't take the 5 seconds to just have a crew member off camera take a picture,
Get kind of close to that framing so you see the line in the floor, but
I mean,
and she's kind of, she kind of goes through the B story with Missy Pyle, who plays Mrs. Fowler,
who is seriously underused in this movie because she's a fantastic actress.
Amazing.
She's so good, and she's got a nothing part in this.
Yeah, I mean, like her entire role is just a device to kind of describe the theme, which that's what Blake Snyder says the B story is for, right?
Yeah,
and that's exactly what they do. And it kind of goes along. It's set up outside of that. It's set up in the beginning, like, who are we? Are we products of our DNA, or do we have free will and get to choose who we want to be?
That's the question.
Yeah, and I thought that theme. And going through the B story, where you're really supposed to kind of like have that metaphor in that B story, it felt really kind of rushed and just kind of like, I don't really know how I want to do this, so we'll just kind of pepper it in there, and so she's Mrs. Fowler is kind of hosting this, teen pageant.
Miss Idaho
pageant. And Lena, who does not believe she belongs in this, she doesn't think
she's just going with her friend. Also,
right.
her friend is really good. I didn't
great
write
actress.
Her name, but her character, the actress did a good job. Her character
makes like the quickest pivot I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, and is really, you could tell that the writer just was like, how am I going to get her in this Miss Idaho pageant thing?
Right.
Okay, I'll make her friends with her enemy throughout the entire movie.
Yeah.
In the first 5
they
seconds, they're
friends.
best friends.
Yeah.
And she's just coming with her to,
Yeah.
And then as soon as Laney gets involved in it,
yeah,
literally at the turn of the switch,
she just gets picked.
They're bitter enemies. It didn't make sense.
Yeah.
They need to get money to save their mom. So they decide there's a train that goes through their backyard, basically.
Right.
And they decide, okay, we're going to rob the train.
Right.
Sell what's on the train. This all sounds like a great premise. The execution to me was just like, okay, why are you turning this concept into a Disney family film?
The way they were stealing stuff, it made sense, but it just wasn't great.
So, enter Tim Blake Nelson, who is the detective.
So he's a detective for the trains.
Yeah.
Train detective.
He's a train detective, and nobody likes him, and rightfully so. He's kind of a bastard.
He's totally a schmuck. He's definitely the villain.
Another problem with this movie, to me, is that, as you said, he's the villain, but he's so inept at everything that there was not one moment where I was like, oh, these girls are going to get caught.
Right. Yeah. But and also, like, I think an even bigger problem is, yes, he's the villain, but in all reality, they're the villains. They are breaking the law.
Yeah, they're breaking
in
the
a
law.
bad way. And this guy, yes, he's a dick, but he's actually doing the right thing by trying to catch them.
And what's so strange is throughout this entire movie, it seems like anyone they tell or anyone that finds out about them robbing the train just joins their team.
Joins their team, exactly.
It's just, okay, you're robbing trains, you're two teenage girls, the dad's a convict, ex-convict,
so he
makes
kind of
more
makes
sense, but she goes
He also works for the train and actually enables them, too.
Yeah, and he actually ups the ante
so
they can start selling electronics and make more money.
Right.
But the guidance counselor at the high school, who's all like, you need to get into a good college so I can get out of this school because that'll look good on my record, suddenly is like, oh, you're robbing trains? I gotta tell them, unless you go to the college that I want you to go to, okay, I'm gonna get out of this school. I'm suddenly on your side.
Yeah.
And she, also that actress
totally
was horrible.
Totally didn't make sense. As things start getting hairier, they forget, oh my god, the social lady's supposed to be here today, and we're not here, and so they run back to save their little brother, I've got issues with the little brother, too.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's a kid, so, whatever. But anyway, so they show up, and Dad is there, saves the day, and he says that he's Uncle David, I think his name is? Or Uncle Dennis.
Like Uncle Dennis.
Anyway, because he can't be a guardian because he's a convict. Ex-con, right? Yeah. So he saves the day. So now we're good with the social worker for a little bit, but that is like one of the big what's the word I'm thinking of?
Fuck ups?
No, the whole problem with the social worker. That's like the biggest thing at stake for our characters. So we don't want to separate the family.
Yeah, they'll be torn apart.
They'll be torn apart, and Lena and the little brother will be taken to foster care. Yeah. Right. So that's what's at stake. This is when things started really going off the rails for me.
Yeah.
Again, no pun intended. Social lady shows up, and she's figured it out. We don't see it ever, but she's figured it out that Uncle Dennis
is actually convict.
Actually Chet Tanner, the dad. And he's a convict and cannot be, watching these kids. Mm-hmm. And so what Chet does is he's a stupid guy.
Yeah.
They set that up, and he's awesome.
He's great in it,
but he gets the kid, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I left something on the stove or something." He's like, "You want something?" He goes into the kitchen.
He goes to get Ashley's character, who's not there, but he says she's there.
Oh yeah, okay, that's what it was. Yeah. He goes to get Deidra, and then what he does is he gets in the truck and leaves. So now, and the social worker's like, "Damn it!
Oh man, he got away.
He was supposed to be the one." Me? I'm like, yeah, exactly. Like, okay, so now we have like an ex-con who just kidnapped a child. And she's just like, damn it.
The social worker's like, I'm going to hit my purse against the wall.
I was in love with him.
Like,
he was supposed to be the one. I think
Yeah,
is exactly what she says.
yeah, and you're right. Like, it's in this kind of realistic comedy. It starts to go off the tracks.
totally
where
goes off the
you're just
rails.
like, okay, that doesn't make any
Everything-
sense. And literally
yeah.
everything that happens after that point doesn't make any sense.
No, exactly. There are just no ramifications.
And she would call the cops.
She would call the cops. Absolutely, there would be.
They'd have a kidnapping on their case. On their hands.
Exactly. I mean, the cops would be totally involved in this, which leads me to another point.
Yeah.
That happens now in the third act. The guidance counselor somehow gets involved with this cop character that was set up in the beginning. He's kind of he's a nice guy.
He's
cop.
great. He's actually on Broad City. He's the girl's best friend in Broad City.
This cop somehow it felt like this, and maybe I was just zoning out, and it was expertly.
No, once again, if we both missed it, it wasn't there.
All of a sudden, like the guidance counselor who admits, like, oh, now I'm an accomplice. She somehow, like, out of nowhere gets this cop to like go.
She doesn't do anything. He just goes along with it. He's a cop.
I mean,
he's like, there's literally one point where they run into one of the girls, and the detective's hot on their heels, and he's like, "We got to go this way. Come on!"
Right?
Like what?
And it just seemed like out of nowhere. Like I said, maybe I don't know. Maybe I was spacing out at that point, but I don't think I was.
No, you weren't.
Maybe if I was, please comment below and explain it for me, because I don't know how this cop, who never showed any signs of being a bad cop, he was actually a nice guy. The way he's set up is like a nice cop.
In the beginning.
I'm not going to pull my gun out on this lady with the TV.
Yeah, I'm going to try and
talk her
reason
down.
with her.
And he's a charming, charismatic guy, and then all of a sudden he just completely
law-breaking cop.
breaks the law.
Yep.
These kids, I mean, are train robbers now. The authorities,
they're breaking federal laws.
They're breaking.
I don't like the way in which it was done, but I like how they used her brain that we set up in the beginning to outsmart the bad guy.
But it's so obvious, though. Of course, she's going to use her brain to outsmart it, and then what they do is like that's using your brain. So what they do is
she doesn't do anything smart.
She looks up the guy, and she finds out that he's on the fence with the law because he pulled a gun.
He's got an anger management
issue, and so her bright idea is like, okay, I'm just going to coax that part of him out and
get it on camera.
So the way she decides to get the bad guy is not brilliant, in my opinion.
No,
opposite. She baits herself by hanging out in a train car. Mm-hmm. She has her sister on the other side, which this is sister's idea. Trust me, I'm really good at not being noticed.
Which is like, oh, okay, come on.
Regardless of that, bad guy comes in, and she says, she's thinking, I'm going to bait him into showing that anger management side, right? And he admits that he's going to, he doesn't need evidence because she comes from a poor background, and her mother's in jail, and her father's an ex-con, and that's all he needs, right? And meanwhile, this is all getting it's getting taped. But you know what's also being taped or filmed on an iPhone?
Let me see. What?
She's in a train, therefore proving
she broke into the train.
She broke into the train. Anybody with half a mind could go, "Oh, wait a second,
Why'd she break into the train?
She's in a train car." And didn't we have like a bunch of surveillance footage earlier of these two teens with floppy hair?
For a smart person, she's an awfully dumb criminal.
Yeah,
he gets really mad and then gets rough with her. And that's enough to make her not be in trouble, and he's in trouble. He's a detective. She's breaking the law.
Yeah, and he
has every right to tackle her when she tries to run from him.
She gives chase.
Yeah.
Right? Not only does she give chase, but it's a dangerous chase. It's up on top of train cars and stuff like that.
She's breaking a lot of laws, and he is a man of the law, although he's a dick. He has every right to do what he's doing. You caught them breaking the law on camera.
Right.
Why? And then you know what happens? The girl goes off to college. I'll be interested to see what you guys think about this movie. Please comment down below. Obviously, Sam and I are not big fans of this movie. I felt like I could have spent my time doing something better. You guys, thank you so much for watching. This has been the Film with No Name spoiler cast for the movie Deidra and Laney Rob a Train, currently streaming on Netflix. Go check it out. Tell us what you think. Come back Monday for a new episode, and we will see you then.